So welcome again to another Revit tutorial class. So the other one I taught you guys how to do BIM in my previous video. If you have not watched it, go back and watch it. I taught you guys how to install both the cracked version and the original version, the system requirements and everything. So right now I'm going to show you the Revit component itself, everything about Revit now. So we're going to open new. Now always make sure you use metric and use discipline. Also, if you have templates, you can browse through any of the templates you want. Like there's default templates, you can use any template you want. So I always have a custom made template. You understand? So I open it. Then yeah. So one thing you should note about Revit is that if you have a work saved in 2021, 2022, and it's upgraded to the older version or the older model, automatically the work is upgraded, everything. It cannot be degraded back. So if someone is using Revit 2021, sends it to that is using Revit 2025, and you open it on your Revit 2025, just know that that person can open it again in that 2021. You understand? So if you're using Revit 2021 and below, 2023 and below, just know that if you are sending it to someone, ask the person, hope you are not using a higher version, because once you upgrade to the higher version, that is how it is. You understand? So if you are using a normal template, everything is set. So everything is set, the whole everything is set. But now let's use a new one without anything being set. You understand? Metric and all. Without nothing being set, we'll see how we'll start. So if you have a project template, this is how it will appear. If you have a new one, that is so now let's use one that nothing is there. So it will show you this. This is one of the metric templates. Why I always say metric is because in Nigeria, in Africa generally, we use metric calculation. That is meters, centimeters. But abroad, they use most of them use imperial, that is inches and all. So for this, it will come with everything: the floor plan, that is the site, everything, the plumbing, the whole features. Like I told you that Revit BIM, everything encompasses. So now let's open another new one again. That's the thing. Then we'll browse. Let's say we use defaults. You see there's commercial default, there's construction default. So you use default and then we open. Okay. Yeah. So this is it now. Let's work with this now. So we have file here. Now the file is used to open a former project that I've done before, create new one, save, export. So you can export in CAD file, that is AutoCAD file, DGM file. You can also export as PDF, DWF, and FBX. FBX is used for those that use Lumion, D5 render. FBX is the file used in opening 3D models. Then you can print. Those are what is in the file. Now, this is also for printing. This is for converting to PDF. I see my arrow. Then this is for saving, opening of a new file. Then open your Revit templates, your Revit families, your Revit models. Now, in the architectural, everything that you need to design is there. So the wall. So yeah, yes, this is the wall. Have you seen it? So you don't need to offset or do anything. The wall is already the wall. Now, so for the window, yeah, we'll put the window, that's it. Now, still under the architecture. For the door, yes, this is the door. Now, component is where you want to put table, chair, anything you want to put. So I already put a desk and then, okay. So anything you want to put is where you use the component and put. That is under the architecture. Then column is of course normal column. So for the column, we have the structural column and then we have the architectural column. So I'll put the column here. Then Still on architecture, then the roofing. Yes, just click on the yes. So I'm just showing you everything. I'll still go further to it. So yeah, you create the roofing at first. So you have created the roof. If you want to see the roof, this is the roof. Yes. Then the ceiling, then the flooring to put the floors, then the curtain system. That's if you want to create curtain walls, yeah, mullion. Then the railing, if you want to create it. So this is the railing. Then see under architectural. So we have the model text, the room. Yeah, if you want to add room name to it, and that's it. So under that is under anything you want to do that involves drawing. Structure is mostly for engineers. Those so it's not be something we'll be touching, but anything mostly for engineers, the beam, the column, the trusses, the brace system and all. Also the steel too for the engineers, the precast to engineers system. So what we're mostly using is architecture, insert. If you want to link any Revit file, you want to link any AutoCAD file, any site file that are given to you, the topography of any site. If you want to load any file, that's the insert. Then most importantly, the annotate. That is for the measurements. Annotate is for measuring. So if you use annotate, aligned, so everything is for measuring. As you can also change the way it reads too. So that is for the annotate, for the align, the linear. This is for the taking of the dimensions. Detail line is for drawing any line that you need there that is not in the architectural. So if you want to draw your void, so detail line is used to draw your void. Some part in the section, detail line too is used for drawing the section part of it. So that is for the detail line. Then region, if you want to do anything like cross hashing, anything, yeah, so the region is used for it. So let's work on it now. So let's take it. Bam. Have you seen it? That is what the region is mostly used for. Very helpful when it comes to section. If you are dealing with section, very helpful when it comes to dealing with section. Also, if you want to change some materials along the class, you also know if you want to change some materials, very, 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 very helpful too in changing the materials. So that is the thing. That is what the annotation is mostly used for. Now, we don't need to, we're not using this to analyze. Another one, very important to architect again, is the site massing. Used to draw sites, used to put the car parking space and everything. And then for the kind of person, if you're not the kind of person that works alone, collaborating is good. You involve other workstations so of you can work together. So either you, the engineer, and everything, everybody that is on your team can work together by clicking on the collaborating. You save the model, then you continue. Then you now collaborate with who you want to collaborate by linking your system with another person's system using a shared common. So what you are working will be is appearing on the person's own. Then the correction the person is doing on his own to be appearing on your own. So that is how the collaboration work. So you and at least they say up to 15 people can work on a project. So you with three other architects, that is for those big, big projects. So someone can work on the ground floor of a high rise, another person can work on the fifth floor of the high rise, another person working on the 10th floor of the high rise. Then the engineer is doing the structural beam, another engineer is also doing the structural beam. Everybody using Revit. You understand? So you can share your work, you can restore, you can review it. So if you look at someone and you don't want the way the person is, you use your current project or you select it in, make the correction the person needs to make, and then the person will see it and do the necessary correction. Then for the view, is used to see things for the rendering, for call out, for 3D views and everything. That's what the view is mostly used for. Then manage is used to mostly everything that is needed in the in anything Revit, like the materials you want to use to polish the work so the work will not be heavy. Everything is done with the with the manage. So you can click on the materials you want to use. So yeah, it will show you all the list of the whole materials you want to use, any material. Then you can click on this. If you want to change the graphics, you can change. If you want to change the appearance to, the appearance will show there. How come it's updating? Yeah. So you can adjust the reflectivity, the transparency, everything you want to do. Then once you apply, then you can just come here and apply it, the material under the manage something. So if you want to purge your work, purging means to removing the excess, something that is not needed. Yeah. So you can come here to purge unused. So if you everything here. So all those ones you're not using again, this is still small. You see some that can be going to 10 of thousand, 3,000 items that are not being used. So the Revit, when you're sending someone the Revit file, yeah, in case you're not collaborating, you're sending someone the Revit file, it won't be heavy, it will be lighter. So you click on this. This is used to purge the work. So if also if you want to change the unit you are using now, this is where you can get everything. Add-ins is used to convert to any model you want in Revit. That's add-ins. Then you can add your other ones like Enscape, Lumion, any rendering software you use. I use Enscape, I also use Lumion. Then modification is used to correct anything you want to do, like the trimming, the offsetting, the moving, the copying, everything is done using this. So now let's go to the project browser. Back to architecture, go to project browser. If you want to see your levels, this is where you see all your whole levels, level 1, level 2, level 3. So you know your level 1 is your DPC or national ground level. Level 2 is your DPC, level 3 your first floor, level 4 your second floor. So this is what you used to do. Then ceiling 2 also has its own level. Then of course site is to use to check the site now of it. Then we now have all our elevations. We have the east, yes, the north, yes, the south, the west. Have you seen it? Everything. If you want to change to your 3D, this here is the 3D. But let me click on it. It will show you your 3D. And you can, left click, hold on it, and then you drag. Left click, hold on it. Then, yes, you can see anything you want to see. So you can rotate up, rotate down. Then you can zoom in, you can move. So that's it. So we're going to our next class, we're going to start on a project and we're going to, show you step by step example, the drawing of the walls, everything. We're going to start touching it. Okay. And okay, some people might also want to ask, okay, if I mistakenly click on how do I some I know someone might ask, okay, how do I change the unit? I want to show everything in the next class. So thank you for watching. Please do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. See you next class.